Hey class, this is a quick overview of how to do transformations without patty paper. Yes, without patty paper. The two that we're going to focus on is translating and also reflecting. Those two are really easy without patty paper. Rotation's a little bit easier with patty paper, so we'll stick with that. I'm going to give a quick overview. If you're a little stuck on translation itself, I am going to have a YouTube video posted that will be linking. This is page 37 in your textbook, and this is just showing translated shape. In a minute, I'm going to go over the notes. And the one thing is we need to focus on how does the x-axis change. For example, the x-axis is -3, but then when it translates, which means to slide, 1, 2 places up, and 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right, the coordinate changes. In class, we were able to see how the coordinates change and what are the corresponding points. Meaning, if I put it right on top of each other, what point is going to link up with each other? And in this diagram, you're able to see it pretty clearly. Okay. Our learning goal for lesson 5 was to make sure that we can see how a transformed figure, how the coordinates relate to that, okay? And the two things we're going to focus on today is translation, which means to slide. And here is the thing we have to do is create a rule. And if you don't get it this time, don't worry, we're going to do a couple lessons on it. For the y-axis, the axis that goes up and down, you are going to create the rule. If you're moving up, you're adding to it. If you're moving down, you're subtracting the value from the coordinate. I'll show that later. In this case, the x-axis goes right or left. The other thing we want to talk about is reflection. Reflection is always going to be the same distance from the line of reflection. So, if you reflect over the x-axis, that means your object or your point goes over the x-axis, then you change the coordinate of the y. I'll show you that in a little bit. And again, if you reflect over the y-axis, you change the coordinate of the x. Some people needed a diagram for the 90-degree perpendicular line rotation. If you need to add this to your notebook, pause the video and go ahead and do that now. Here is an example of reflection. I said that in your notes, it is going to be the same distance from the line of reflection. In this case, we're going to plot each point. I'm only going to show the first two, A and B. And we're going to use the x-axis of the line of reflection. So that's what we're going to cross as the x-axis. So we need to decode. I'm going to start with my A point. Some students had difficulty with this. This is half, so that means you're going to go half on the x-axis. Remember, your first point is x, your second coordinate is y. In this case, I'm going to go half, and I'm going to go up 4 because my second coordinate is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to put my dot right there, and I'm going to put A. This is my original coordinate. Oops. Now, if I was reflecting over the x-axis, I'm going to look for my axis. And here I'm going to count how many points is it from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go the opposite because reflection is the opposite. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So since I did the opposite and flipped, I just go ahead and mark my point there and my other point disappeared. Let me put it back. And I have my A and I have my A prime. Don't forget, when you reflect, you have to use that apostrophe symbol to indicate that is the reflection, okay? It's a little difficult with this pen. So we reflected over the x-axis and we make sure to label each point, and we are using this prime symbol. I'm going to flip the slide and show the correct answer. So as you saw here from A, it's the same distance. From E, it's the same distance from the line of reflection, which is the x-axis. So as you can see, as I said really quickly, the x-axis, you can change the y-coordinate. Because if you're going across the x-axis, you're moving up and down to cross over here, which is the x-axis. Up and down is the y. So in this case, y is positive 10. When you reflect over the x-axis, is negative 10. When you reflect over the x-axis again, if it was negative 20 on the y-coordinate, it will now be positive 20, and the x stays the same. Okay? With the y-coordinate, same thing. The x will change. In this case, it's positive 3. It will now be negative 3. Because if you're going over the x, you're moving right or left, which means you're going across the x-axis. So in class, we went over this. Just making sure you're using your perpendicular lines for the line of rotation. Very last piece is translation. Let me go get ahead and get my pen. In this case, we are going to translate, which means to slide a object or point across the coordinate plane. I am going to go 4 units, and I'm doing this right, and I'm going 1 unit up. So if I go start at my point and I follow my rule, I'm going to go 4 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go 1 unit up. In this case, I will have my A prime. There you go. And if I took B and I did the same thing, I will start at my original code, and I'm going to follow the rule. I'm going to go right 4 units and up 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1. And that is going to be my B prime. So following the rule in your reference book is making sure you know you go right or left on the translation. Okay? Good luck.